What is up, ladies and gentlemen? I'm here with Jack Brubaker. What is going on, brother?
Hey, brother. Just enjoying life. Just got back from Japan. Just had my first big mandatory defence with the challenger over there, and I came back with a good 12 points decision with to win on points over in Japan, and is really good to come away with a good win.
So give us a spiel of your boxing credentials and how many world titles you've won and all that kind of stuff.
Basically, sort of 12 months ago, I fought on the Denny Green undercard as the main event. Sort of, I got offered a fight against the Chinese youth world champion, the WBC.
Yep.
Big step up in class for us, and I think I was a little bit of I was an underdog going into that fight. Sort of, they looked after the Chinese camp. They sort of managed it. Sort of 50 million people watched that fight in China, and
wow.
I think they sort of because it was such a big step up for me going into that fight. I think they sort of thought I had a little bit easy win.
So they were using you as a stepping stone.
Yeah, they were using me as a stepping stone for that fight. So I knew that, and I sort of don't shy away from anything. I knew I thrived on the challenge, so I trained hard for sort of 10 weeks. And got down there, and I shocked them. I sort of dropped him twice in the first round. Almost stopped him. Sort of got saved by the bell at the end of the first round. Sort of had him pretty shaken.
Yep.
And he came back strong, being the sort of the youth champion. That was his sort of third defence of that belt. So it wasn't no slouch. He came back. He had a good sort of solid second and third round, and came back, and we were having a good fourth round, and sort of 16 seconds to go, caught him with a clean right hand right on the button, and that finished the fight. So that was a sort of first big sort of title I won, and there was a vacant OPBF Oriental Pacific belt on the line, also a vacant belt. So I picked up 2 belts in one night, and sort of came away with a really good win.
Wow, man! So that would have been massive. I mean, obviously you would always not expect to win, but you would tell yourself that I can win this. But what was the expectation personally for you? Were you shocked yourself, or?
I'm always confident going into fights. Sort of, you train hard for 10 weeks, and being a boxer, I think we're all confident going into any fight. So you wouldn't go into to a fight sort of with the mentality that, man, I could lose this. But that's what sort of you have those thoughts sort of throughout the training camp that keeps you sort of busy, and keeps you sort of focused, and keeps you hungry. Keeps you hungry, keeps you 110%. The closer you get to the fight, the less you think about that. The less you think about the more you sort of get the confidence in yourself. And by the time I got down to that weigh-in the night before, so I could just sort of look in my eyes, looking back at the photos. I already won that fight. Sort of, I trained too hard. I wanted it too much, and sort of I had everything riding on that fight. So if I didn't win that fight, I sort of honestly, I probably wouldn't have known where to go next in my boxing career. So
mentally, you had committed, as in, this is do or die for me.
Yeah, mentally for that fight it was, because sort of I wanted that fight that bad, and I sort of trained hard for it, and it was a do or die thing for us. And I suppose every fight you feel like that. You don't want to sort of every fight, especially from now on. I sort of putting that do or die mentality on the line, because you sort of think to yourself for a week. It's my full-time job now, boxing. Sort of, I gave up. So I gave up my full. I'm sort of plumber by trade. I gave up plumbing 10 weeks before that fight. Sort of told my boss, I said, listen, I've got this opportunity, sort of once in a lifetime thing. I didn't want to look back in sort of 10 years time and think, man, what if I just sort of gave up work for that fight? I had all my previous fights. I sort of was working full time, training in the morning, training in the afternoon, which was it was pretty tough. But it's sort of at the start of your career, there's not much money in boxing, sort of, especially in Australia. It's not big enough. So when I got that opportunity, I sort of had a bit of money saved up, and I had a couple of good sponsors. Like I love to say, big massive thanks to Cook's Plumbing, because they got me that fight down there and sort of let us able to sort of give up full time work and train for 10 weeks and the gamble paid off. I sort of won that fight, the 4th round, big KO, sort of unexpected. Sort of I think I shocked everyone on that night, and it came away, and I've had 2 defences since then. I've sort of fought Irish kid Paddy Murphy.
Paddy Murphy from Brisbane?
Yep.
Trains in Brisbane, the boxing shop?
Yeah. I fought him March 12 of this year, and he was my first OPBF title defence, and it was a tough fight. He was a tough opponent. He sort of, I dropped him sort of throughout the fight. I dropped him 5 times.
Just kept coming.
He kept hopping up, and I actually broke my hand sort of pretty severely in the second round. I broke 2 metacarpals in my right hand, which sort of stopped me from being able to use my right hand to my full potential. And it wasn't so much just the throwing the punches that was sort of affected me. Even keeping the hand up, every time he sort of threw his hand, I block it with my right, which you sort of taught to do better, catch the punches on your gloves, and that hurt more than throwing my right hand. But
so you're just like, you've got to decide between
either on the chin or on the broken hand. So I sort of got two big cartilage things in my hand that sort of fixed up, and but I could battled through that. That's just sort of things you encounter as a professional fighter, and I could have sat down at the end of the second round. I told my trainer, I said, man, my hand's broken. I felt it, I heard it, clean snap. And,
oh man,
so I sat down.
Like when you're sitting there, are you thinking about it? What are you thinking?
Oh, when I've got my hands up, man, it's just one of those things that mentality in you sort of. I watched it during the fight. I didn't think I threw my right hand once. Sort of, I thought I was holding back, but you watching it back in the fight replays and sitting down with the trainers. Sort of, I wasn't throwing it as much as I normally would, but you still throw it. You're in a fight. You're in a dog fight, and I sort of continued on, and I dropped him sort of in the third round with just a little left hook when coming in. So that gave us the confidence, and now I got sort of power in my both hands. So continued on, dropped him sort of 4 more times throughout the fight, and eventually, sort of, he in the 6th round, is just sort of, the ref jumped in when he was stopped and stopped the fight. So that was a massive confidence boost for us also, knowing that
because he's a solid fighter.
Yeah, he was. He had a massive amateur career. He was he was 11-1 record going into that fight with sort of 7 KOs. So he was a good opponent, a good step up for us. And he had a big support base, which I had sort of my support base there also. But I gave him plenty of respect. A lot of people sort of wouldn't have sort of kept hopping back up, and I was sort of just looking at him sort of on the ground as he's hopping back up. Oh man, what's it going to take to stay down? But he was a legend of a bloke. He came and had a beer with us after and wished us all the best for the future. So that's the best part about boxing. Sort of, you're in there for sort of 20 minutes, half hour, 36 minutes max, sort of fighting someone and giving it all to knock them out or to hurt them. And as soon as that final bell goes, you just had that respect for one another that you wouldn't sort of
kind of like a bond as well.
Yeah, like a bond. Yeah, you've shared that moment, and sort of I've become friends with sort of all my past opponents, and it's just something you can look back on in the future, and so talk about it over a beer and sort of with the kids.
So for yourself, you were telling me earlier that you played rugby league growing up, but have you always been good with your hands? As in, have you had a lot of, like, some guys grow up and they've had a lot of street fights and that's just how they know that they're good, with their timing and all that kind of stuff? Or was it something that 6 years ago that you just slowly learnt and enjoyed? Yeah,
and I grew up with a couple of older brothers, which they sort of rough you up a bit and sort of teach you a few things. But I started footy when I was 3 years old, and I was known as the speed bump. Sort of, I just slow him down and wouldn't stop him. But I loved the sport. Sort of, I played it for repeated under sixes for 3 years until I sort of played all the way up until I finished school in year 10. Started working full time as a tradie, and sort of had to sort of weigh up my options of leagues are sort of pretty brutal sport, and it's sort of pretty at that age. Sort of, I was always a bit smaller as a kid, a bit scrawnier, and sort of pretty late bloomer. So I thought sort of at 16, 17, I was sort of a kid while I was versing men at that age. So, but I gave up footy, and I always loved my sports. I've always been active, and I've really enjoyed sort of anything I've done. I've always been quite good at it. But it was just the time where I thought I want to learn how to fight was sort of, I was 16, I was 17 years old. I've always had my older brothers who are pretty popular at school. I never had any problem sort of with anyone sort of bullying me, because I always had that respect for my brothers. And I was a younger brother. So, but I came out of Woolworths at Caringbah one night, staying at my sister's across the road she had a unit there. Came out, had my cheese and ham for sandwiches the next day. 17 years old, had a fluoro shirt on after work, staying at my sister's, walking across the road, and these two lads came and go, "Oh, you." I was like, "Oh shit!" They came and put it on me, telling me I was bashed their mates. 2 nights ago, someone in tradies clothes bashed their mates. So I was shaking. I was scared. So these two guys, one was in front of me talking, the other one was circling my back. I'm sitting there going, "Oh man, I didn't know what to say." I said, "Man, I'm sorry." I think they sort of looked at me as sort of this young, scared kid. I went to shake their hand, and so I'm sorry. And he goes, "You're lucky you slapped my hand away." And they walked away, and I was terrified. I sort of went up to my sisters, called my brothers. I'll be there in 20 minutes, but of course, sort of they weren't there at the time, and they left. But so I thought, man, I never want to feel like that again. So I went up next day, Googled boxing gyms around the Shire. Found Southside Boxing. Went up there the next day, seen Ryan Waters. I'll see you tomorrow. I said, okay, I'll see you tomorrow. Walked in there, everyone was friendly, and I just was naturally sort of good at it. Sort of naturally took a liking to it. I loved it, and sort of 6 years, 7 years later, it's my full-time career, and I've sort of it's taken me around the world and given us plenty of opportunities. And I actually got lucky tattooed on my hand.
Oh, really?
Yeah, same hand he slapped. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So that's how much it stuck with you.
That moment. He goes, "You're lucky, man." They slapped my hand away when I went to shake it, and so that's I am lucky. It's it's my full-time job. I love my job.
It's just such a sick, lucky, fuck. So
that's
that hand.
And like, as much as I'd love to see him now, and so I'd thank them, man. If it wasn't for those two guys putting it on me and making me feel scared and
testing you as a man.
Testing me. I said, man, I want to learn how to fight, so if that ever happens again, I don't have to rely on my brothers or call my brothers and oh man, can you come help us out? So I wanted to be the man to say, well, if something did happen, I can protect myself. So I'd like to thank those two boys today, if you're listening.
If you're watching, fellas, you're pieces of shit for bullying him, but you're also the man for
those type of boys, man, they'd probably be locked up.
Probably. Fucking hell, that's mad, bro. That's mad. It's mad that it's, it's just stuck with you so strongly, that moment of testing of manhood,
that's it. I was sort of, you're 17 years old. I was a young 17 years old, but you look back at that's a defining moment, and that's when you sort of you want to sort of about yourself, and boxing's given a lot to me, and I love the sport. I sort of love my job, sort of.
So how far into did you get the lucky tattoo when you after?
I sort of had to get especially on my hand, I had to get a few other tattoos for my parents to
let you go.
Eventually, sort of they let us get I didn't tell them at the time. But, you get enough, and they sort of stop.
Just accept it.
Just stop bagging you and and give up on him.
He's done. He's a criminal. He's got tattoos.
He's a criminal. He's a criminal.
Oh man, that's mad, bro. So, when you went into the gym, some fighters, for fans that listen to the rugby league fans, some fighters are just brawlers and they can just go in there and they somehow can just take a hit and keep going forward. You know, you compare that to someone like a Nate Diaz, even though he's highly skillful. But then some fighters have this weird timing that just is just in them. They just seem to know there's just this timing. You know, they know when to throw that punch when they're not in range, and they know how to. Their range is really good and stuff like that. What was it about you that it felt good for you?
At the start of my career, sort of grew up, sort of watching Ryan fight. It was my trainer for my amateur career, and early on in my boxing, he was sort of a shorter, sort of bit stockier fighter, and he was a walk forward, get hit to throw a punch. So
get one.
Yeah, get one and get one in. Yeah. So that's what I sort of idolise and focus myself, but I'm sort of 6 foot tall and sort of long, lean build. So
what do you fight at 70?
I fight at 66. Welterweight. So I walk around about 70, sort of 72, 73. I cut down to 66 to make weight. And
so you're a tall.
Oh 66. Yeah, I'm sort of not many people in my division, sort of around my height. But yeah, so at the first sort of 4 or 5 years of my career, I was sort of walk forward, tough, where I can take a hit. I sort of been sort of blessed with sort of a pretty solid jaw, as I found out, sort of having sort of been hurt,
tested,
touch wood.
Yeah,
but it's sort of something you sort of, but you learn as you get older and you get wiser. It's sort of learn to use my reach, and it's, you don't want to get hit too much in boxing, and it's sort of
there's only so much.
You don't need to prove. You don't need to prove that you're tough, and it's a lot better boxing to watch. Some of my best fights have been recently where I've used my reach and used my timing, and I've got that awkward range on us where I can sort of hit someone from a position that they wouldn't expect it. So and I can bang a bit. So I've got that power, which sort of everyone I spar middleweights and super middleweights, and right down to sort of lightweights. So you sort of get that range where you sort of mix up with sort of sparring with a bit heavier boys, a bit slower but can bang a bit, or you can go down and sort of
quick,
with the boys with a bit more speed. So you try to utilise everything around you, and sort of in relation to the fight that you have coming up.
And so, you know, you go into the gym and you seem to have this natural knack for it. When was the first time when your coach was like, you could genuinely be a professional boxer if you put your time into it?
It was something like, it was just a hobby for me for my early on in my career. Sort of, I went to work. My mates played footy. I did boxing. So, but I just sort of I won state titles as amateurs, and I had a pretty good record. Even though I didn't never, especially early on, sort of at a young age, it was a tough age to start. But I started boxing. I had my first.
It's pretty late.
Yeah, I had my first fight I started training when I was 17, and I had my first amateur fight the night before my 18th birthday.
Wow.
Yeah, so I know it was my 18th because they made a big announcement at Sharky's Leagues Club.
Yep.
And when I walked out to that night, it was just the excitement and the thrill of walking out and sort of hearing a packed house of 1,800.
Walk us through that feeling. You know.
Oh man, I was nervous. I sort of hadn't experienced anything like that before. And normally when you have your first fight, you'd like to have it sort of out in a country club where sort of not many people that you know are there. You can have a few close mates come out. But my first fight, Sharky's Leagues Club, packed house, and it was just it's something I'll never forget. Just walking out and having that sort of your heart in your throat, but you're sort of calm at the same time. You're ready for it, and I knew that from that first moment, I just loved it. Loved the excitement. Loved being the centre of attention.
Yep.
And it was good. I sort of finished that fight and had a good win on my birthday. I finished about 10 o'clock. I know it was my 18th because they made an announcement. The bartenders wouldn't serve me my first drink till I was past 12 a.m.
So swear to God.
Yeah, I had to wait. So I had to wait 2 hours to get it.
So thirsty.
Oh yeah, I was stinging for a drink, but that was a good night and something I'll remember forever.
So what do you when you're in the ring? What is your first feeling? You know, is there any things that you can remember specifically from that first fight?
I remember it just being dead silent. Like the crowd was going off, but I was just that focused and that in the zone. It felt like it was just no noise in there. But now they're a bit more calmer in the fights, and sort of you have enough of the fights. You pick up on the noises. You hear your mates yelling out stuff. You hear your trainers saying stuff. But I remember that just dead silent in a crowded sort of house.
Yeah,
It was sort of pretty surreal sort of feeling, but it was unreal.
Where you could kind of you could hear the gloves, you could hear
you can see the sweat dripping down his face. It's just sort of all happens in slow motion. It's just sort of I haven't felt that sort of serenity since that fight, because you're a bit more aware of your surroundings and that. But that first one, it was just a real surreal feeling.
And so going forward, so you had that fight, and obviously your coach would have been like, you've got something here. But when was the real decision of obviously it was before you went to fight the youth champion?
Yeah.
But before that, it would have been before that where you were like, if I make that choice, I could do something special here. When was that kind of where you were like, I'm a legit Australian contender here?
Yeah, probably. I turned pro when I was sort of late 21, so we got through the years of having a couple of amateur fights, going out with the boys, having the 18. Sort of you miss out on a lot of things as a boxer. You miss out on a lot of birthdays, and I had to miss close mates' birthdays. I lost a lot of friends through boxing from school, and sort of you say no to too many parties, too many 18s.
They stop calling you.
Eventually, they stop calling you. I mean, Brewy thinks he's some mad sick boxer. He's going to be some boxer. I mean, I was like, man, I'm sorry. I was focused. I wanted to sort of achieve something. I enjoyed it, but eventually I sort of lost a lot of mates from early on in the career. But man, if you lose mates from not going out on the piss with them, they're not your real mates.
Exactly.
And the friends I've gained from boxing and the people I've met is just sort of it's amazing. Sort of you surround yourself with people sort of in the same vision and the same sort of mentality as you, and you surround yourself with successful people, you're going to be successful.
100%.
Yeah, boxing. What's boxing given for me? It's sort of I just got a all sort of trip to Japan, all paid to do something I love. Whereas sort of all those kids I went to school with, man, they're working 8-10 hours a day for 12 months. Hate their jobs. Just to save up money to go on a 6-week holiday over the end of the year. Where I've got sort of LA plans in January. My good friend Craig from Easy Payroll, he's flying me over to LA to sort of Justin Fortune's gym to do a 4-week training camp in America early next year. So I've got all these opportunities that I would never have got, and I'd still be working a job that I hate, sort of going out just looking forward to Friday so I can go have a few beers with the boys and live it up for one night before I'm sort of back to reality and back on Sunday comes and you think, man, I've got work tomorrow, where'd that weekend go? And sort of work 5 days to just have a 2-day piss up, man. That's sort of a bit more to life than that.
100%, bro. Totally agree. And I think that there's a lot of people are too scared to just try and go. They're afraid of the failure, and they're afraid of being seen as someone, losing the mates and being lonely and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, well, I sort of I've done it, had it tough for a couple of years, but sort of I've got the most amazing family. I'm like this close with my brothers. I sort of and my sisters too. I'm just blessed that we're all close, and every family has their sort of their skeletons, and we're no different. Which just made us all our siblings sort of tight, and sort of my parents have sort of been so supportive of us. Sort of first day I came home, told Mum I was boxing. She's like, oh yeah, whatever. You're doing a bit of boxercise training. She didn't think much of it. Thought I was just hitting the bag in a big grip. And I sort of came home, told her I had a fight on my 18th birthday. She's like, what?
Where'd this come from?
Yeah. She was like, no, I don't think you should do boxing. Like, it's sort of you'll end up brain damage. You'll end up a vegetable. I said, Mum. Sort of, she said, and now she's my biggest supporter. She flew over to Tokyo with me. She sees that the dedication that goes into it before a fight. I won't drink 10 weeks before a fight, so and she sees the hard work that I put into it, and she sees what boxing's given to me, and she's my biggest supporter. She comes to all my fights, and she's ringside, and she loves it.
And so you have that first fight, and it's kind of like you can be something, and then as you kind of progress, you realise that you need to make more sacrifices to do it full time, and then obviously Cook's Plumbing come on board and were willing to help you, become what you wanted to be. So, in that camp, when you were doing it as a full time job, did you think, I love this? I really want this?
Yeah. I never hated hated my job as a plumber, but I never loved it. So you go to work, you do your job, you come home. You sort of, now I wake up, train for a couple of hours in the morning. I've always been fit and healthy. You have the day to yourself. You can catch up with your mates and spend time with your family. I babysit my nieces and my little nephews, get to spend time with sort of them, and train for a couple of hours in the afternoon, and just have the best lifestyle. It's sort of, I know, it's one of those things, but you got to balance it because you can't enjoy yourself too much because you got to keep focused. And you got to treat it like a job. It's my job, so you can't get sort of too sort of eat comfortable in it. When you're in the gym, you let it train, and otherwise, man, you have a loss. So who knows where you'll be back? Back on the tools. That's me. I like doing what I'm doing too much, and that's the motivation I keep to keep in the gym and keep winning.
And so, when you went over to Tokyo recently, what was that like for you?
That was a big test for us. That was a big step up for the Japanese welterweight champion. He was undefeated in 6 years. So he was 24 wins, 1 loss, and he had 24 of his fights in the arena that I fought him at. So he was a local hero, local favourite. So it was a big thing to fly over there, and not many people have gone, especially just recently. Not many Australians have been over abroad and came away with the win. And to win on points too, sort of, I hit him with some of the biggest shots I've hit anyone, and he was sort of the toughest dude.
Just ate him.
He just ate him. He had split eyes. His left eye was cut, his right eye was cut in the second, third round. His nose was bleeding, his lips were cut up, but he just kept coming forward, and he tested me, and I was in deep water, especially for the first 12-round fight. So I knocked the Chinese champ out in the 4th round. I stopped Paddy in the 6th round. So I was like, man, I'll just keep knocking these people out. It's sort of easy, but man, they're sort of, you're gonna fight that you're gonna get these people in your career that sort of have an iron jaw, and they're gonna push you. So to win on points over there, and he was tough. But I've been training in sort of the Australian winter, so you train in sort of 20 degrees, sparring in 20 degrees. Where in Japan, it's sort of middle of summer, 40 degrees, felt like 45 degrees in the arena. So that was definitely a big shock for us. Sort of, I remember sitting down in the first round, and it was sort of just that is the heat. It was just sort of zapped all the energy out of you. I remember I was sparring 12 rounds easy going into that fight. I was fit. I was the fittest I've been because I knew it was my biggest test. And I remember sort of sitting down in the 3rd, 4th, 5th round, just looking up, going, man, not even halfway through this fight. Like, how am I going to get through this?
And this fucking dude just doesn't.
He kept coming. He kept throwing big body shots because I was a lot taller. He's a lot stockier than what I was, and I think their game plan was just to slow me down with my body shots. I think they watched my last couple fights, and I start hard, and I sort of dropped all my opponents sort of early on. So I think his sort of game plan was get through the first couple of rounds, just work my body, try to slow me up, and it was something I'll never forget. That fight sort of it was back and forth, and he definitely had me sort of swimming in deep water at stages, and sort of I learned a lot. I'm very proud of myself. I
was going to say, were you happy with how you responded to those?
Have
you been better, do you think?
I laying in bed that night just thinking, man, why did I do that? Well, I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have done that. But you being a professional athlete, you're never going to be completely happy with how you fought. I could have done a lot of things better in that fight, but it's one thing saying I could have done that, but what he did to force that. Sort of, he was. I hadn't fought anyone or sparred anyone who just sort of would walk forward and sort of. So it's one thing to say, I wish I'd done that better, but in the situation, I think I sort of did the best ability, but. Their 12-round fight, the first 12-rounder, so that was another thing to tick off the box, and I can come away from that fight knowing that I learned so much from that, and for the next fight, I'll be sort of 2 times the fighter I was leading into that. Sort of learnt and grew a lot about myself, and sort of those last couple of rounds, I was definitely counting down the seconds, and
also it's got to rattle you to be sitting there going, "This, I can't knock this guy out.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing I can do. I've just got to point this now. Like he can take my best shot, and I'm already fatigued. So if he's going to take me best first round shot, he's going to take me unless I slowly chop him down. So that's got a mentally.
Mentally, I remember sort of. I just in the 10th round, I sort of the last sort of minute of round, I sort of felt like I hurt him again. I had him on the ropes. It was a Japanese ref, so I had him on the ropes the last sort of 20 seconds. I was just unloading on him, punching him, gassing myself out.
Yep.
I could see the referee in there just watching it, and then he just throw one little jab and just enough to warrant not the fight not getting stopped. So it was just. I remember sitting down at the end of the 10th round, and I was just I was really gassed after I gave it everything, thinking I thought I was going to stop him 100%, but he just he stayed on his feet to his credit, and my corner, my coach Graham Shaw is just an unbelievable trainer. He sort of trained Daniel Gill and a lot of world champions over to sort of taking them over Germany, and fought Triple G with Gilly, and to have him in my corner, and Brian Wilmot sort of as my cut man, and I was just sort of blessed to have sort of two of the best people I reckon in the business helping us. So they sat me down, they told me, you're not going to knock this guy out.
Yep.
Jab and move and box him.
Yep.
Box him. You box the pants off him. Why you stop trying to knock him out?
Yeah.
So I came out in the 11th round, started boxing a bit more, and in the 6 years I've been boxing. Well, I've had hundreds of spars and probably sort of 50 fights now, and never touched a canvas, and something I'm proud of myself of. I've never been hurt. In the 11th round, just from fatigue, and at the time I didn't think I got hit, but looking back at the replay, I just sort of come up from my own uppercut, and he caught me with an uppercut, and I got dropped in the 11th round.
So mixed with fatigue and all.
Not that it hurt me, but I was just sort of exhausted, sort of in that heat, and already been fighting for 31 minutes, so long time to be in the ring, sort of punching and getting punched. So I did. I got dropped in that 11th round and hopped up, dusted myself off, and finished off that 11th round quite well. And they come back and they said, you got to win this 12th round. This championship round, it's 11th, 12th round. You got to win this round. So I came out. And I won the round on all three judges. So something really hold my head high on, and hopping off the canvas for the first time in 6 years, and dealing with it well, mentally well.
What was the score at the end?
It was a split decision. Two judges scored me to win 115 to 113, so 7 rounds to 4, I think, or 6 rounds to 4, and then one other judge went the other way, 115 to 113
to him.
Yeah.
And they're going to be as biased as possible.
Yeah. The first round, I always start hard. I came out. I could not miss him the first round, and I hit him with everything.
And they didn't even give it 10-8.
Yeah, no, one of the judge that scored him the winner, they gave him the first round.
Oh,
so that's the sort of the way it went. But I had a big, strong sort of middle section, and I got dropped in the 11th, which is automatic 10-8 round. So you're 2 rounds behind.
What about the rounds you did? Oh, you didn't drop him out because
probably one of the first fights. I hadn't dropped anyone, so it was just it's something you're going to learn, that you're going to get these people that unless you triple G and have
cement hands,
have cement hands, you're going to find people that you're not going to be able to drop, and it's good.
And what's been, I guess, a standout memory for you boxing that you can kind of remember, or a funny story or anything like that?
The standout memory would have to be that first win on the Denny Green undercard. That was just sort of something I'll remember forever. It's just sort of I always knew I was good. I sort of had that natural ability, but that was a moment where I was like, man, I can make a go at this. I can. I'm good.
Genuinely,
I'm genuinely.
One of the best in Australia.
Yeah, I can mix it with sort of the Chinese champion, and 52 million people watched that fight in China. It was on free-to-air TV.
52 million people.
So we knew that the night before going into it.
So Danny Green must be cashed up. Like, if 52 million people are watching it over there,
that's it. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, Yeah, it was in sort of it's probably Greeny's best interest to because probably about maybe 1 million people watch that fight in Australia, whereas sort of 50 million people watch that fight in sort of China. It's sort of probably
that wasn't his latest?
No, that's 12 months ago. Yeah. So
it
was August 19.
Where was that fight at again?
Hisense Arena.
Yep.
So I sort of went from fighting at Sharky's Leagues Club and sort of Punch Bowl, Workers Club and Reesby Workers Club to fighting in front of 11,000 people down at Hisense Arena. The fight before Danny Green, the main undercard. Man,
so you were the co-main event.
That was a co-main event. Yeah, so that's that was just something I'll never forget, that fight, and to win the way I did, like, as good as it would have been to knock him out the first round. Like, I dropped him twice hard, but it just showed the caliber of person, the fighter he was too. So he came back and he came to fight. And he sort of had a really strong second, third, fourth round, and then to win the way I did by just sort of clean one punch stoppage. Yeah, it was in front of sort of all those people and on main event. It was it was an awesome win.
And your fight coming up, you're fighting for the Commonwealth belt.
Yeah, October 29 at Homebush on a Neutral Corner Promotions fight. Fighting Cameron Hammond, who's a former Olympian. Sort of 16 wins. Or sort of where the sort of top welterweights in Australia, alongside Jeff Horn. Sort of not many people sort of in Australia sort of try to protect their records and win the opportunity to fight for a Commonwealth title. So it's been 15 years since the Commonwealth title has been held in Australia.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so you think?
So is it vacant?
Yeah, the European champion just vacated it. So myself and Cameron Hammond is I think he's 16 wins, no losses going into this fight. Sort of we're two red hot young Aussie fighters, and I don't shy away from any fight. Sort of I believe in my own ability, and I can beat Cameron. I know 100% I'm going to beat him. Yeah. So
what is going to win you the fight? What do you think it is?
Man, he hasn't had the fights that I've had. Man, I've been in those deep waters where I've had to test myself and I've had to find out a lot about myself. He hasn't had that. He sort of had it a bit easier road than my last sort of couple fights. And I come to fight, man. I'm tough. I'm young. I'm hungry. Sort of. I don't think he's fought anyone that's come to who's wanted to win. So he's going to get it's going to be a good fight. I tell you that. He's got skills. He's got his fast hands. He can move well. He's had sort of 100+ amateur fights. He's been to the Olympics, been to sort of Commonwealth Games. So he's experienced. I'm probably a bit more experienced than me, but I'm coming to fight. I'm coming to win, and that's what's going to win me the fight. I'm hungry, so I want this bad. It's a massive opportunity for us, this fight.
And your kind of willingness to engage, kind of thing.
Oh yeah. I'll be walking him down for 12 rounds. If he wants to sort of box and move, he's going to have to, he's going to have to do that for 12 rounds. I'm coming and I'm going to chase him down. I'm going to beat him up.
Yep. So what's the camp going to be like for you? What's going to be different about this camp for you?
Man, just every fight I have the growing confidence. So I'm always confident in my own ability, but man, I keep having these fights. I keep I was probably an underdog going into Japan, that fight. Sort of, even though I was the champion, I was going over there and they flew me over, sort of put me up. I probably wasn't meant to win that fight either, but man, I love going into a fight. I'd be the underdog going into fighting this Cameron Hammond too. He's like I said, he's an Olympian and he's got all the skills. He's been around for a long time, but man, I just thrive on each fight I have. I grow in confidence and I grow my own ability. So I'm ready. I'm ready to get stuck into it. And the more wins I have, the better. I think, man, I can train harder than that. I can put in extra work. I can do those extra runs. I can do that extra hour in the gym. I can do the extra work. I know I can work. I've had good training camps going into every fight, but after each fight I come out with a win. And especially that tough fight, I think, man, I'm gonna have to step up my training again. So but I know I can do that.
And so, who's been someone fighting wise that you looked up to or loved to watch as a kid?
I love everyone loves Mike Tyson. They're just fun to watch, man. You know that those fights they're not going to the final the scorecards, but I love them. And I've got Mike Tyson. I've got Muhammad Ali tattooed on my leg. I've got Arturo Gatti tattooed on my leg. Like he's a sort of old Thunder Gatti. Sort of, he's not very good for me to watch and idolise because he copped a lot of punishment. But he was good to watch. His famous trilogy with Mickey Ward. That was sort of. If you don't love watching that, you're not human. You wouldn't love boxing. You wouldn't love anything like that. Those trilogies, especially round 9 on that first fight, man, I just have so much respect for Toro Gatti for those fights. But then again, like you look at Mayweather, man, he's just once you're a boxer,
slick.
Yeah, like just. A lot of people don't like him because he's sort of not very exciting to watch. He sort of wins all these fights on points and that as recently. But man, until you're a boxer, you can't appreciate just how good he is. Like
he's barely ever been hit.
Yeah, you can't. I love my favourite fighter at the moment is Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez. Cinnamon. Here's what I reckon. When he fought Mayweather,
looks like a rookie.
Yeah, when he was fought Mayweather, he was the best probably the best offensive fighter going up against the best defensive fighter. I thought Alvarez was going to knock him out, but
I thought he was going to be too big.
But man, Alvarez didn't hit him 12 rounds, couldn't hit him, and that just proves how good Mayweather is.
Alvarez looked uncoordinated.
He was falling over his punches, and until you sort of realise how good Alvarez is, and it just sort of that gave me a newfound respect for Mayweather, man, because he knows what you're going to throw before you even know what you're going to throw yourself, and that's what makes that's what makes him such a good fighter and
so good.
Yeah, that's what he's had such a long career and successful career because he doesn't get hit, and
and now he's sweet, like he has no issues. He's not punchy. He's nothing. He's just all good.
He's smart. He's been smart with his money and money made 300 mil against Pacquiao. That'd be alright.
I just wish Pacquiao didn't go in with an injury.
Yeah,
because now we'll always be like, fuck. Well, his shoulder was fucked.
Yeah, I see it, but. Yeah, watching back at those fights, you love, but it's one of those sports boxing. Man, you're always footy going into each week. You're always injured. You just got to battle through it, but it was a good fight. And
did you watch the Nate Diaz Conor McGregor fight?
Yeah, I was actually down the snow on Sunday, so I was snowboarding. I had my phone out, watching it on the mountain what I could, but I've watched it. I watched sort of bits of it live, but I've watched the full fight live since then, and that was. Man, those two warriors. Much respect for Nate and
Conor McGregor's hands, man. He's just so fucking good at keeping his head, like throwing his punches off with his head off center, and just fuck. I don't know how he does it.
Yeah, he has that just sort of that's like he said, timing and
just beautiful and perfect range. Like he was outranging a fucking 6 foot. And he's 5'9". Yeah, he was the one getting in and out.
Yeah, he's got the skills. Pay the bills. He's done it right for himself too. But man, he's just got the gift of the gab. He can talk. He's got the sort of the sayings, and man, I love listening to him. Love watching 100%. him, and people pay to watch him win. Some people pay to watch him lose. But man, either way, they're paying to watch him.
Exactly, 100%. Is there any other memories kind of growing up? Like growing up financially, did you struggle for opportunities or anything like that, or everything?
My parents sort of have a pretty successful business, but man, my parents sort of made us work for everything we got, which is sort of, you look back now and it's done us a lot of favours because we got given nothing for free sort of growing up, and sort of got given a lot of things. I grew up down Darks Forest on a horse riding ranch. So I grew up sort of on the country almost, but it's only 30 minutes sort of south, and grew up riding horses, riding motorbikes, and I got given a lot of things growing up. Sort of most kids at sort of 13, 14, 15 didn't have sort of the things I had.
But heaps of opportunity.
But I had to work living on a farm too. I was working every other, getting getting up early every morning, every weekend. I had to sort of do 5 hours of chores on a Saturday morning before I could go for a 1 hour motorbike ride after. But yeah, it sort of made me the person who I am, and it gives you that hard work ethic. And yeah, you need that hard work ethic to be successful in any career. So yeah, I sort of have a lot of praise from my parents, and who raised us all sort of really well.
And do you have any, embarrassing or funny moments that you can remember in the ring that you're like, fuck, man, like, I don't know, whatever it was, maybe walking out, you tripped over or some shit like that? Anything like that?
Yeah, I threw up in the ring one time. Yeah, that's probably pretty embarrassing, but yeah, it's one of those things you push yourself to the limit so hard, but sort of couldn't make the bathroom. And
what round was it? How did it happen?
Oh, I think it was in an amateur fight. So early on in the career, I might have had a sort of a big weekend, sort of a couple of weekends before I took it really seriously. But I've been pretty lucky. Sort of in my boxing, sort of like I said, it was the first time I touched a canvas in sort of 6 years in sparring or any of my fights. So I spent a long time sort of doing that, but. Yeah, not off the top of my head any really embarrassing moments, which I'm pretty lucky
Any
about.
training moments or anything like that? Any moments in training that you can remember?
Man, in training. I've seen some pretty bad broken noses. Luckily, I sort of none of myself. I've seen sort of noses sideways, the bones sort of sticking out.
Oh man.
Yeah,
what's the toughest injury you've ever seen someone fight through?
And I've seen a guy. I've seen it via video, but a guy popped his shoulder out. And he was sort of.
I think I've seen that.
Yeah, stopping the guy with sort of one hand. But so my break in my hand, like sort of, It was pretty severe, and like I sort of broke 2 of the metacarpals, and they sort of shortened my knuckles by a centimetre each one. Wow. They splintered back into themselves. So walk us
through that. Okay, so you're in the fight.
And had a good first round. I felt awesome. Had an awesome training camp. First round, boom. I had because I'm sort of getting a bit older now, get a bit more man strength. I feel like I'm sort of getting a lot more power, and sort of 2 weeks before the fight, I sort of had my hand was starting to hurt. It was like it was starting to get pins and needles in when I was doing pads, and we used little gloves and like little 8-ounce gloves. They're barely anything. So my hand was sore. So I went to get a specialist, got an MRI, and I had a hairline fracture down the centre of my knuckle, one of my middle knuckles. So, man, 2 weeks before a big opportunity like that for us, and I didn't want to pull out of the fight. So, I just went, had some. I thought about getting cortisone just to get me through the fight, to get me through the pain if need be. But because it was the bone, the doctor was shied me away from it. So, anyway, that's sort of, man. I just sort of, the way my trainer, we strapped up my hands to take pressure off that middle knuckle. But I had a good first round. My hands felt good. Came out in the second round, and it was about 30 seconds ago, the second round, and Paddy, sort of solid head, just came in to throw my right hand. He just ducked his head and punched him straight on the top of the ridge, and I knew straight away. I could just feel it. I just felt it go bang.
So what? It split.
Yeah, they sort of. I don't know if you can see, but these two metacarpals in here, I sort of shortened these 2 knuckles by a centimetre. I sort of punched, and they just sort of splintered back in on themselves.
Oh fuck!
And I sat. I remember in that second round, I sat down, and I was like, my corner had their pre-fight sort of. They're sort of telling me what I did right, what I did wrong, and I'm sitting there going, my hand's broken. I'm broken. They just ignored me. They're like, oh, all right. And I remember came out the third round. I was like, oh, maybe it's not too bad. Maybe, boom, like, shit. So I was like, no. Came back in the third round. I was like, shut up for a second. My hand's busted. Like, it's broke. They said, well, what do you want to do?
Yeah,
that's why
they ignored you in the first place.
Yeah, what do you want to do? What do you want us to do? We're going to stop? I'm like, oh no. We said, we'll deal with it. All right, just use your jab, box and move. Use your left hooks. He goes, don't throw it, but don't. You're gonna have to throw it. Don't load up, but you're gonna have to sort of
just push it out
tap him. Otherwise, he's gonna pick up that you've not been throwing your hand for a couple of rounds. So, but Yeah, so like I said,
what are you thinking through those next rounds?
Oh man, I was thinking, man, I saw every time I dropped him in the third round with a left hook, and I was like, man, please stay down, please stay down. Being a tough Irish sort of proud Irish fighter, he hopped up and he came out and he sort of lasted another 3 rounds. He got dropped him a couple more times. Each time I was like, man, please just stay down. And in that 6th round, I think I dropped him. I think he thought to himself, I was like, man, this is the do or die, because he had a big spurt in him where he just sort of came out, went nuts for probably about 20 seconds, had me pinned up against the rope. So I was like, shit, man, like where did he get this second win from? And then sort of once he sort of finished that, threw one more left hook and dropped him again. He was just on his knees. He was just like, looked up the ref. It was the 3rd time I dropped him that round. I think it was 3 knockdown rules. So actually, I got off a bit of a funny story in that fight. My brother, he loves me to death, thinks I'm Superman. My brother Justin, he was in my corner that fight, and the second time I dropped him in that round, the ref, I think he sort of it was more of a slip, the punch. So I dropped him twice, and the third time it was a slip. So the ref waved it off like this, as in like, no, it wasn't a knockdown, it was a slip. So my brother thought that I'd won, so he thought that was it, 3 knockdown rule. The ref called it off. So I looked at him, the ref said, no, it's not over. So I turned around, and I didn't know the rule at the time. I watched the fight a week before on a big fight in Vegas, where the corner hopped in the ring before the fight had finished, and he was winning the fight, and he got disqualified.
Oh my god!
Yeah, so I look up. My brother, there's photos of it. My brother was holding the top rope like this, jumping over, swinging himself over like that, and you see me running to him, and I double punched him, Supermaned him like this, and he got tangled up in the ropes, fell back over, fell off the rings, and that's if he likes me, if he landed in the ring, that's it. I dropped Paddy for 5 times, and almost about to finish the fight, and I would have been disqualified. I lost my belt, so I sort of got.
So you ran over super punch.
I double suplexed him. Double suplexed him, and like just I got the best photos of it. My sister was
if you can, I'll get those.
Yeah, I will. I'll get them off my sister's sort of was in the opposite corner. She had the camera. She's got a couple awesome photos of us. Jenna, we'll shout out for her. But she was there taking photos, and look back at it. At the time, I was so pissed off with him. I was just sort of seeing my face when I was walking away from his corner back to the neutral corner. I was shaking my head, just thinking, man, like, how lucky was that? Like, I just looked back and I just seen him just like jumping over the ropes.
And like, who knows? You could not have.
Oh yeah, so I could have just turned right and walked straight to my neutral corner. It just so happened I just sort of you can see it's like a sequence photos of me turning. And it was unreal.
That's mad, and it all worked out for you.
Yeah, it all worked out, but
so you,
double suplex. So I had a run up too. It was just you sort of love him, but
hated him that
man. It was lucky, but he loves us to death, and he has a lot to do with sort of my career, and he loves sort of helping us out, and
Ask all the guests this, favourite rapper of all time.
Oh, I love Eminem, man.
That's it, dog, man. I mean, people that listen to the show are sick of me saying yes, because he's my favourite rapper.
Oh, is he?
And so many people say Eminem.
Yeah, man, it was a sort of little white boy, man, sort of growing up 8 Mile. Lose Yourself. I remember getting mum into that album when I was probably in year 6, eh? But,
getting your mum into the album. Mum's just gangster and just gone.
Yeah, oh, man, you sort of see where he's come from in his career. Like, he had the toughest toughest upbringing, and to see what he's done for himself, and being one of the most successful rappers of all time.
And he's genuinely a gun rapper. Like his lyrics are unbelievable.
Oh yeah, if you really listen to him, you sit down and you just sort of listen to the song 5 times over just to make sure you get every word in,
and like the deeper meanings of his lyrics. Like, there's so many there's so many songs that you can go back and listen to with Eminem that have deeper meanings.
Yeah, so from when you listen to him when you're sort of 12 years old to when you listen to him at 16 to learn when you listen to him at 20, 22, it sort of has each
means something different each time.
Yeah, exactly right.
It's amazing, bro. Favourite movie of all time?
Oh, favourite movie of all time. I love probably Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah. Oh, okay. That's been said a few times.
Yeah, man. That's an old
Classic.
classic. Yeah, that's just unreal. Like sort of
Such a good movie.
Yeah.
And if you could have a billboard anywhere saying anything, what would it be?
Oh, I don't, you know.
World champ?
Yeah, it'd have to be coming in over Tom Ugly's Bridge into Cronulla, big billboard, big post to me on
Just
champs
world
here.
champ.
Yeah,
Champ.
champ, you're entering champs country.
That's a good one. All right, brother. Thank you so much for coming on, and good luck in your Commonwealth.
Yeah, and I
bout.
appreciate that, and thanks for having us. And yeah, I'd just like to say a quick thank you to Active Labour Hire, because they've been a massive help to us, and Luxbet, along with Easy Payroll and Cook's Plumbing. So yeah, I wouldn't be sort of being able to do my career and give boxing a full-time crack without those people. So
it was Cook's Plumbing,
Luxbet.
Is that a betting company?
Yeah,
Yep.
Easy Payroll.
Easy Payroll.
Yeah, and Active Labour Hire
And
company.
Active
Yeah,
Labour.
Ryan from Active, Mick from Cook's Plumbing, Craig from Easy Payroll, and Steve from Luxbet.
Sweet.
Cheers, those boys. Really appreciate it.
All right, thanks, man. Bro, that's it.